U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday had tea with a former jihadist who until recently had a $10 million U.S. bounty on his head. Interim Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa, once known by his militant nom de guerre Abu Mohammed al-Jolani, met Trump in Riyadh 6 months after leading a swift campaign that toppled the half-a-century-old Assad regime, ejecting Iran-backed armed groups and declaring himself leader of the country. Al-Sharaa was placed on the U.S. specially designated global terrorist list in 2013 for heading al-Qaeda's affiliate in Syria, known as al-Nusra Front, and allegedly orchestrating suicide bombings across Syria. The Saudi-born former jihadist had spent years fighting U.S. forces in Iraq before moving to Syria to lead an armed Islamist rebellion that ousted the brutal dictator Bashar al-Assad. The meeting, described by Syria as historic, was the first between a U.S. and Syrian president in 25 years, taking place during Trump's Middle East tour, the first set of state visits of his second term. Both leaders were seen smiling in photos released by the White House and the Saudi Foreign Ministry. The Syrian Foreign Ministry said Trump committed to standing by Syria at this critical juncture. A day earlier, Trump announced the removal of decades-old sanctions on Syria, a move that prompted a 40-second-long applause from the audience, including a standing ovation from the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. "Oh, what I do for the Crown Prince," Trump told the room on Tuesday, crediting the de facto Saudi leader for leading the effort to lift what the president called brutal and crippling sanctions. Syria has been designated by the U.S. as a state sponsor of terrorism since December 1979. Syria's economy has been crippled for years by Western sanctions. Among the harshest is the U.S. 2019 Caesar Act, which imposed wide-ranging sanctions that restricted individuals, companies, or governments from economic activities assisting Assad's war effort. The act rendered the entire economy untouchable. According to the World Bank, the country's economy shrank by more than half between 2010 and 2020. As of 2022, poverty was affecting 69% of Syria's population, according to the World Bank. Extreme poverty affected more than 1 in 4 Syrians in 2022, the bank said, adding that this number likely deteriorated after a devastating earthquake in February 2023. Gulf states have been keen to invest in Syria and prop up its economy, but have been wary of violating U.S. sanctions. Trump's move is likely to remove such barriers, making way for potentially billions of dollars in investments. But the optimism is not universal. The lifting of sanctions would go far in giving legitimacy to Shara's new regime, and some in Syria are concerned about how minorities will be treated by the former jihadists. "We are glad about it, thank God. After all these years, the economy could be revitalized. The prices are very high. Products are unavailable, so, God willing, it will be the beginning of economic improvement in the country." George, a resident of Damascus, who declined to share his last name, told CNN. The lifting of sanctions, however, shouldn't be construed as a tacit approval of the regime without bringing to justice those involved in the killing of minorities, he said. "We face a number of extremist groups that restrict freedoms," he said. "If a guy and a girl are seen together in public, the guy could be detained and just disappear. Men can be beaten for wearing shorts. It's an extreme infringement on personal freedoms." In March, armed men loyal to the new Syrian regime carried out field executions and spoke of purifying the country after a crackdown against remnants of the former Assad regime spiraled into communal killings against the Alawite minority. The United Nations said at the time that entire families, including women and children, were killed during the violence.